Hello, today we're going to go over how to do a Vlookup formula. I've built a simple example here where we've got different items in different locations and the price for each item in each location. Every row has a unique ID number. In our example, we want to update the price on 4 of the items. The new prices are listed in column D, and we want to make sure that the price in our database, in this tab, matches the new price. Now, you could go through and look for each ID number one by one, but that's a tedious process. Instead, we're going to do a Vlookup formula. To summarize what the Vlookup formula will do, it's going to look up the ID number, go over to this tab, check column A, and once it finds the exact matching ID number, it's going to come over here and find the price in the same row, and it'll return that price into column E. Once we have the database price in column E, we can compare it to the new price in column D and make sure that they are an exact match. Now, if you've never done a Vlookup formula before, it might seem kind of intimidating. But every Vlookup formula is just 4 parts, and once you understand those 4 parts, it becomes much easier. The first part is what you're looking up. In this case, it's the ID number. You always want to look up something that exists in both places. In this case, the new spreadsheet that has the new prices has the ID number, and the database where we're comparing also has ID numbers. The second part is the area where you're looking up this ID number. In this case, it's our database. Now, it might look kind of confusing at first, but you really don't even have to think about typing this part out. As you're typing out the Vlookup formula, Excel will auto-populate it for you. So once you have your first part, you press comma to go to the second part. And if you pay attention to this formula up here, all I have to do is select the area and Excel will automatically populate it. So if you pay attention, right as I click on this other tab, the formula already populates that. Now if I want to select the area that all the information is in, I'm going to select all of columns A through D. And you can see it's already been populated here. Once I press the comma, I've finished that portion of the formula. The third portion of the formula is going to tell Excel how many columns to the right to go once it finds the matching ID number. So in this example, we want to return the price, and that's the 4th column. So in this case, we would have 4. Now, one thing to keep in mind is whatever area you select, you can't tell the formula to go outside that area. So if we only selected A through C, that's only 3 columns, so we would not be able to select column 4. But if we wanted to pull the item name, it works the other way around. You can select more columns in your area than you need, and everything would work fine. The last item in the formula will almost always be a comma 0 because you'll almost always want an exact match. In fact, I've never used the Vlookup formula where this was not the case. So that part is easy to remember. At the end of every Vlookup formula you do, you'll have a comma 0. So I'm going to go ahead and type this in as an example. We're selecting the item we're looking up, which is the ID number, and we'll separate it with a comma. Next, we'll select the area where we look up the value. That's A through D. Next, we'll select the price. That's the 4th column over. And last, we'll select a 0 for exact value. And it'll return a 0. Now we can drag these values down, and I've got some conditional formatting in here to show if a value doesn't match. In this case, our database has a pineapple being listed as selling for 3 cents, when really it should be $3.17. So that's a red flag right there that something was loaded incorrectly. And we can go in here and get that changed. Now I've made a simpler example here where if you want to follow along in practice, you can do it right here. In this case, we want to look up this item here over in these 2 columns. So we'll click on Apple, which is what we want to look up, and we'll select this range here. And since we're looking up the price, and that's the 2nd column, we'll type comma 2, and we want an exact value, so that'll be comma 0. One thing to keep in mind is that The VLOOKUP formula is not case sensitive. So see here how Apple is typed in all caps, but here it's not. The VLOOKUP formula will not be able to differentiate between these two rows. Now, in this case, that's not a problem, but sometimes that can be a problem, and there is a way to make VLOOKUP case sensitive. You can actually create a custom formula that doesn't come with Excel, but I'll go over that in another video. And sometimes you'll find that an item isn't where you're looking it up at all. So for example, there is no pair over here, so the formula errors out. But this can be useful too. If you want to see which items are not in the table you're looking up, you can do this, and anything that returns NA isn't there. So if we wanted to sell an item and we wanted to see what wasn't being sold yet, this could be useful. And we could even nest in some formulas here to clean that up a bit. So we could do that. And then this way we could use a VLOOKUP formula just to see what's being sold and what isn't. So I hope this has been informative. If you would like to pause the video here and just practice, you can go right ahead.